ice. It is unfrozen.
Alright, we're live.
Nah, see you, bud.
We're live, Scott, by the way.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
I won't say all those things I was going to say. Let's see if this works.
All that pent-up racism.
Oh, it's so dark.
All that pent-up racism. Oh,
Look how
Scott,
dark it is.
you look
You guys
so
see me?
glorious.
Alright.
I'm looking up to you.
This angle.
I always look up to you.
I literally am not kidding when I'm telling you that my room is like pitch black dark right now because my lamp has gone out. So
Then Scott lives in
it's
poverty.
pure darkness tonight
Poverty, I tell you.
for everyone.
So, I'll tweet it out here in a second. Did everyone enjoy AJ's stream? Man, what a fucking boss.
It was
it's a
legendary.
baller.
I'm putting this as the AMA pilot stream.
Nice.
We've been trying to think up new stream ideas, and this is one of them. So we'll see what happens.
Are we going in order?
Oh, we don't have to. We might though.
I'll go for it.
I don't fucking know. I will explain to the stream what will happen next time.
We should explain why this is different from the podcast too, because people be like, "Well, you guys just talk about things, don't you, on the podcast?" Like, listen, motherfucker. No, just kidding. Not have to be aggressive about it. But
I am not debuting in a fancy suit. I'm just back in a suit. To be answered on this AMA.
Alright,
Don't you worry.
so in the future, all 108 of you, thank you so much for coming out. So in the future,
should retweet it as well.
yeah,
So,
retweet
had
that
to get
stream.
that out there.
In the future, what we're going to do with this stream, if it goes well, right now we have some email questions picked out and things like that to answer. We're going to try to also converse with the chat. All three of us have the chat up, and we'll try to also converse with the chat. This isn't like the podcast, so we won't be talking news unless you have a good question about a news topic.
Right. Yeah.
This
No,
is
but-
literally anything. This is like, we have questions about manscaping. We have questions about
yeah. It gets interesting.
drugs. We have questions about charity. All kinds of things. So, all kinds of stuff. This isn't like the podcast. It's not going to go up in audio form anywhere. It will be uploaded to YouTube, but it's not going to be in audio form anywhere. It won't be on iTunes or anything like that. But what we're going to do in the future, guys, is if you don't like us on Facebook already, and you want to participate in these in the future, we will need you to be doing so on Facebook. And the reason we were taking Facebook questions as well. We were taking
Ask Scott anything, his snot is flying out of his face right now.
We were taking questions on Facebook, like not to stymie that, but Facebook is going to be what it's going to be on in the future, simply so that everyone can see everyone else's questions, and it can kind of be more of the Reddit AMA type format, at least visually and a little more community oriented then. So we just kind of thought of that like 10 minutes before the stream started, so...
Sorry about the nose blow. I should have warned everyone. Snot Fisher. Christ.
So...
I'm
So
sick.
that-
So.
in the future, that's what it's going to be. Because it makes it easier for us, it makes it more interactive for you. We're also going to be, as I said, conversing with chat more. So on the podcast, we don't try to actually actively avoid that, but because people are going to be listening in an audio format later, it's kind of more difficult to include the chat in that environment, because we don't want people listening to be like, well, I don't know what the hell's being said right now by the chat, so
Right.
I'm listening to it later. So this matters a lot less. We could use the KBMOD subreddit, Scooby Doodles. We could do a straight up Reddit.
Or we
That's
can
a good
actually
point.
utilize it.
That's a
We
good
could
point.
actually utilize it. We'll think about that.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad
That's
idea.
not a bad idea at all. I had almost forgotten that thing existed. So
Wow.
And
I'm
the
on
question,
it
a
right
good
now.
example of a question that we're not going to answer is one that Stefunoob just posted.
Yeah.
Like, how many dicks would a dick suck? If a dick, I mean, it's clever, and I like the ring to it. And there's
I think that's
time and
an
place for that.
inbox question. That's
No, that's an inbox
question.
slash Twitter questions.
You
one.
should really
But-
fuck up the verbiage on it, though. You should make
another-
it really
Another good idea is the forums. That's another good idea.
Yeah.
But not everyone wants to go sign up for a forum either. So I understand that. So
Tim wonders why he's never going to be on the
As
podcast.
Dan said, though, this is the pilot episode. There's a lot of new things and great things going to come up for it.
This is kind of the three of us just like, here's an idea.
And it's gonna be small too. It's not gonna go to. It's gonna be not one. It's gonna be 2 or 3 people at any given time.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get bigger than that. It's gonna be intimate. You know, you guys put your PJs on. You go find your little brother.
Yeah, I put my PJs on.
And you sit here and you listen to good life stories and advice.
There you go. And some of your questions can be humorous. That's totally fine. But I'm not gonna sit here and answer fuck, marry, kill, Morgan Freeman. Gordon Freeman, Tub Girl.
Garrettson.
Like, I'm not gonna, that's not gonna happen here. We won't be a Jose Canseco AMA either, but what a fucking legendary AMA.
That guy.
That turned out to be.
Hadden Games. What's up, buddy?
Let's get it. Let's get her rolling.
Let's do it.
Here. So we have, of course, me, Dan, aka Nipnops, aka Infinite Sad. I stream a lot on this channel if you're new. And I don't really lead anything. You could call me.
Yeah, whatever. You're a fearless leader, and you always
just
will
take
be.
some
Don't
credit.
even
Take some
modest Jesus
bulls
Christ.
by the horns here, and just.
Yeah, no, that actually, Laughing Man with a really good idea of what questions. If you can end your question in XD, don't ask it.
Yeah,
There
you
you
can
go.
Probably
include
not
Nick
for this.
Fenton more than twice. Then
Yeah.
So we also have with us the dapper Cheddar Chezz, Pastor Gaines himself.
Just always looking so fresh, like he just came from a worship service. So.
Whether
we'll
it's-
address that. Don't worry, it's part of the AMA. Actually,
Whether it's at the gym or...
He works
at
out
the
with those
office,
clothes.
at the gym or at the office, doing push-ups and Kegels all day.
Kegel. Yeah, he does his anal Kegels. I don't know why he does
Wow.
that.
I do.
And we also have, of course, Machinima Respawn legend,
Oh,
APL Fisher.
You're too kind.
Um,
You're too kind. Yeah, no, this is a fun crew. I'm glad to be able to do something a little more serious with you guys. I think this will be fun. We do get into serious. It's not that we don't get into serious. We sometimes get deep on the podcast. It just happened before, but I think this isn't necessarily meant to be a serious show because there will be funny questions, but it'll be a more serious take rather than us being like Troll XD or Orion Dino Beatdown sucks, right? Like we all know that. So
yeah, pretty much. So this will be like, it's an AMA, so it's literally anything.
yes,
We try to handpick podcast questions. Again, how this is going to differ. We try to pick podcast questions that either A, will be funny, or B, will be gaming related and spark a discussion there.
Yeah.
For instance, the question about marijuana tonight, I would not have put on the podcast, most likely. So, there you go. I don't know what the double A means. What does that mean? What does that mean, AJ? AMAA.
They do that though. That's how they do it. Ask me
Is it Ask
absolutely
Me
anything.
Anything Anonymous?
Absolutely.
Is it the
Almost.
AMA Anonymous? I think it's the AMA Anonymous.
Almost anything.
Absolutely.
That stoner face. God. Anal. Ask me anal anything. Yes.
Let's get to the
Alright.
first. Let's do it.
Let's
get
get
the
started
first
here.
question.
So first question comes from Mr. Matty Mouse, a man who has written guest articles to us. He emailed in Chad Winchett. Jesus.
Chad going huge in
Wow,
the chat.
Chad going big, man. Clutching the round.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
That's very heartfelt.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, look at Chad. Good guy, Chad, in the chat. Give him a little bit of.
Good guy, Chad. That's a new meme.
And thanks
For
to
you.
160 of you
GG
showing
Chad.
up for our third stream of the day today. So thank
Quick
you
Yeah.
for doing that.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mr. Matty Mouse has written an article or two for us. Aussie guy. But he emailed in, and he wanted to know. He says, "Good evening to you, gentlemen. I'd like to know what are some of the various jobs you've had over the years and some moments at those jobs that you remember the most, good or bad. Thanks for the continued level of awesomeness you guys provide on a daily basis." Well, thank you, sir. And so, all right.
Good one. Good one.
In high school and into my first year of college, yeah, Capstar knows. Capstar and I worked at King's together. I worked at King's Family Restaurants as a dishwasher
Oh boy.
for like 3 years. Let me tell you this: dishwashing, not a bad job in high school. Not a bad job. because they can't keep you too late in high school, so it's not a terrible job.
Right, work regulations, all that with the government.
Yeah, you can just listen to music, and if you show up to work in a restaurant and you're in high school and you show up to work regularly, they're like, holy shit, gold. Gold. You'll actually show up for work. This is ridiculous. There's only one twist at King's, and that was our manager loved to do coke when it got super busy. And so that was terrifying. Capstar luckily was a massive dude, so he didn't have any like problems with being scared with the guy. But yeah, so we would get super busy, right? Like Mother's Day or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like 1 million people, like 40 people out the door, running out of dishes. Our manager Donnie would go back, do a line, and then come back in the dish area, and like if we had a lot of dishes backed up, he'd just fucking throw them against the wall and break them and shit, and be like,
that's amazing.
let's
That's
get
how you
fucking
take care
working.
of business.
He'd be fucking flipping the shit out, dude, and I would just be like, Donnie, I gotta walk away for a bit. I thought he was gonna punch me several times, like just out of sheer coke rage, just like
He would just break the dishes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this restaurant's still around. It's a popular chain in Pennsylvania, actually.
Oh,
and
my
another
goodness.
quick King's fact for I'm not even letting you guys speak, but another quick King's fact for you. All the desserts at King's, APL may have eaten at a King's. I don't know.
I don't think I have.
I think
that's
they're
more
Western.
Your area. Yeah, Western.
All
yeah.
the desserts at King's are, we're going to try to interact with the chat Katie's in. We are in a Google Doc right now, yes. All the desserts at King's are named after moves that Harley King, the founder of King's, did to hookers.
No.
Yes.
Plot
No,
twist.
no.
Yeah.
That's not real. Are you serious?
Yeah. My buddy's dad is super rich and owns like 6 or 7 car dealerships. And he's hung out with Harley King numerous times. So I don't know if they're...
Give an example. People want examples.
Well,
in the
there's-
chat. What's a dish?
That
They
is a
call their
bazooka.
brownies frownies. I can only imagine what that...
Oh God, with that sex move.
I'm trying to look to see if they redesigned their menu or anything. Because this was like in high school
Years
for me,
ago.
so like 12 to 14 years ago. Yeah, they've kind of redone. Oh, the Just Right Sunday. The King's
Yeah.
Banana Wheel. You never know. The Angry Mob.
Oh, jeez. Oh, do I have this up right now?
But,
Oh God. All right. Well, worst. Wow, that's pretty good.
But I
That's
seriously
pretty-
only washed dishes until I got into like legit jobs. I guess legit would be a word to use, like office jobs. So there you go.
Chad once again quickscope
going
in the chat
the
with just
cutest
epic,
quickscope.
epic.
Cross-snap.
Oh, he's responding with his worst job. I see.
Wow, you
I
took a boat to
Hold
Singapore.
on, you found the quick scope. Yeah,
Chad,
down-
wait, hold on. I gotta read.
gotta
I
scroll
gotta
up
read
here.
this. I don't know. If I will say
Why
this:
don't you, say this in like Shakespearean.
if Chad's a troll, he's fucking really good. I will say this. Because listen to this. Listen to
He's
this.
a troll. He's fucking. Chad's dedicated, dude. I love that he spent all
What
that
a
time typing that.
dedicated
This is
troll.
the best.
He apparently was beaten by his black manager.
Yeah.
Tried to strangle him. He grabbed him by his cornrows. And then he left and took a boat to Singapore, and that is where I get troll.
I think maybe it is a troll.
Yeah, that is a troll.
Good thing we have multi-res options for you, because obviously you can't watch 720p in Singapore.
That's right,
Oh.
St.
That
Jimmy.
might be
Never
slightly
look
racist.
back. Chad 2013. Never look back.
God, I'd vote for him. Wow, that's
That's
pretty good.
troll. Yeah, Chad wins. I mean, pretty much.
Chad's pretty legendary. Man, I've had so many jobs over the years. When I look back, like now, this is a question that, because I was like, fuck, like, I don't know, like to narrow it down to one experience. Like I've worked, I've done dishwashing. One of my worst jobs ever was dishwashing at a inner city. Not to be racist, just saying. I dishwash as the only white person working at an inner city Red Lobster in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I mean, the stories that I could tell are pretty epic. Same thing, like the first day I got there, the dishwasher, my fellow dishwasher, literally before I even started the job, pulled me behind like the dumpster and was like, dude, he's like, if you ever need a hookup for heroin, just come to me. I was like, what the fuck?
This
I'm
is
in high
like
school,
the
bro.
advice. This is like
This
the
was
advice
the
you
advice,
get
and he was like,
first
he's like, dude, he's like, we all need to unwind after this job. This is my first day, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work out for me. But I ended up staying there. I'm sorry, it wasn't high school. It was freshman year of college. It was during
Okay.
the summer. And oh my Christ, man, like that job was crazy. It was the same thing, like you said, Dan. Like when we get piled up, like I had never worked with so many people. Like the turnover rate for dishwashing jobs, at least at like a Red Lobster, it was literally like every other night I'd be working with someone else because people would just walk out like constantly. They're just like, fuck this. There's no.
I mean, I was in a white bread small town, but even there, you know, it's like if you were at a restaurant and you would come to work regularly, they would just pay you whatever you wanted.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I took the job, because I sat down with the guy and he was like, "We'll pay you $12.50 an hour starting." I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
to wash dishes? Like that's ridiculous." Like, so I was. How bad could it be? Well, it was fucking terrible. But I did it for a while. One of my favorite jobs I ever had was I worked on a watermelon farm. I think I've told this story before.
No, I don't know.
Actually, I worked on a lot of farms because I lived in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I used to work on a...
My mind is blown right now. My mind is fucking blown. My mind is literally blown.
It's not what you think. So I wanted to save up for a Trek 300, a red Trek 300. Look it up if you can't. If you guys don't know about Trek mountain bikes, this was the ultimate bike. This was the bike I wanted. They paid me like it was minimum wage. It was like $4 something an hour at that point during our fucking economy, and I was 12 years old. And yeah, this is the stolen bike story. So that's the bike that when I went overseas got stolen like instantly. That I had worked all summer for this fucking bike, and it got stolen. Anyway. We used to
nice bike.
Fields, and we would pick the watermelons and put them on a conveyor belt. And you may be like, "Oh yeah, like that's not hard work." You have no idea. That tractor is moving at like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 miles an hour, and you're pulling these watermelons from the stem, from the fucking ground, and you're throwing them off the vine onto this fucking conveyor belt. It gets fucking it's difficult. And so that job really taught me a couple things. It taught me that I never wanted to work on a farm again. That was the first thing. The second thing it taught me was that there's a lot of bratty kids that work for farm hands. There was this one kid named Caleb. God, he was a cocksucker. He was this dude. He thought he could boss me around. He was my age, but his dad owned the farm, so he thought he was like the farm hand. Yep. And he used to be like, "You're not doing it fast enough," and like give me all kinds of shit. And one day, after like taking abuse for like, you know, it was a summer job, so it was like 2 months. Yeah. He was like giving it to me super hard.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh nice.
Okay.
No, not like that. He was giving it to me super hard verbally, and I said, and I was like, "Caleb, can I talk to you over here?" And he was like, "Yeah." He like didn't know what was going on, and I walked up to him and I was like, "If you ever talk to me like that again, I will fucking kill you." That's what I told him. I told him I wasn't gonna do it, but I was like, I will kill you. I didn't say fucking because I didn't even swear at that point, right? Praise the Lord. But I said, Caleb, I will literally end you. And I was like, and I'm not kidding. So you better like, I don't give a fuck if your dad owns this farm. It was basically that kind of speech. He never bothered me again for the next month and a half. So I'm telling you guys, like, it's oh man, I have so many. I'm not gonna monopolize this time. Chezz, what about you? What do you got?
Jeez, I remember getting a job at a grocery store which is a chain that I cannot name because I was 15, yet I changed my birthday by 1 year,
nice.
And they still happened to hire me. So
Chezz,
that was great.
Child labor Chezz.
Yeah, illegal child labor Chezz, you know, looking buff and gain as I do now. But the worst part about it was that they had domes for security cameras, and that's why I live in Illinois and now I live in Chicago, because it is a shitty place of shitty people with shitty morals. So, yeah, the domes have no cameras in them. So at 16 years old, unfortunately, there used to be 40 ounces and 3 different fifths of vodka that would slide out of all of the exits of this building where we used to have underage parties because no one kept track of a goddamn thing.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fucking awful, and it is a terrible thing just reflecting on humanity that I did that as a fucking teenager of 15 years old.
I think it's awesome that you forged your birth.
I forged my birth to get a job, yeah. So I did that, and I'll never work in a grocery store ever again because I don't know how to bag groceries. I will definitely most certainly put your eggs on the bottom of the bag and then throw a gallon of milk on top of it. Because I don't want to be a fucking bagger. I'm just saying.
I worked at a grocery store deli for a long time, and the whole thiever, like the never keeping track of stuff and like a mom and pop shop, every single person that worked there stole, including me at various times, I will admit it, stole from that place and felt no guilt because, well, first of all, the owners were total shitheads. So like you felt vindicated, even though it doesn't make it right to like steal inventory. You're kind of like, dude, if I gotta put up with this guy, I don't give a shit. Like, just do it. But I've never seen, like, I feel like that's super rampant in, like, grocery stores. I feel like if you work there, people just assume that part of your pay is taking stuff from the shelves.
It was
like,
I worked
take
for my weekend,
Yeah.
But the funnier thing about that is that at 15, while I still forged the date of my birth, I showed up there, and I couldn't drive because I was 15 years old. I showed up there in a full suit and tie at 15 years old.
It's
I'm
been
not
going
kidding.
on so long.
To apply at a grocery store. That's how fucking ridiculous I am, because I don't know what's wrong with me.
The first place I ever applied was a Dairy Queen in our town.
Ooh.
And I didn't know this at the time, but the Dairy Queen there would only hire high school girls or gay dudes. So I didn't get hired.
So you didn't get the job?
I didn't get the job, despite being gay as hell. But no, they seriously, they did not. You can ask Sean this. I think he's in the chat. But yeah, they did not hire anyone but high school girls to work there, and they had to be cute. They wouldn't hire an overweight girl or anything there. It was like super discriminatory, but nobody called it because why would you?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that also, to follow up on your restaurant stuff, I also came home from college when my parents had moved to California already. So I was renting like a room in a house in town there for like $150 a month. So it was awesome. But I worked at this mom and pop diner in town, not a King's. So I had to go to work at 5 a.m. And the couple that owned it were divorced, but they owned the restaurant still. And they fucking hated each other.
That's exactly was like, yes.
They hated each other, man. Like,
I know exactly
so much.
what you mean.
And the dude made all the pies, which were the only good thing there because they were like homemade pies. And the lady did all the cooking in the morning. So it would just be like, as soon as they would come in and even mention anything to each other, it would just turn into a cat fight. And I also had to. It was a local restaurant, so I had to. I had to do the salad bar, like put the ice in it and stuff.
Yeah, to toss it, right?
And I was just fucking mad. I was working for minimum wage at the time too, which was $5.50 an hour. $5.50 an hour doing this.
I was on the $6 grand.
Because I didn't have a car, because I was home from college. So, and my parents were in California, so I didn't have a car. So I also had to peel potatoes there, like a fucking prison hand. Like it was. That
is a prison job.
Yeah, that's a fucking prison job. So
totally.
So whenever I would do the ice for the salad bar, I would get cut sometimes, like actually cut my fingers by the ice.
Did you get a tetanus shot or any kind of thing?
No, Chezz. I would just bleed in the salad bar, and then people would eat out of it.
Disgusting. Oh no!
This is the best AMA already.
I never do salad bars, by the way, because I know about stories like that. Having worked in food, I don't even fuck with them because the salad bar is the last thing that anyone wants to fucking deal with when they work at a restaurant.
Yep.
So,
because after like 2 weeks there, dude, I was just like, because I was the only one doing. So it was a mom and pop operation, right, in a small town. So they had like 2 servers, and then they had them doing all the cooking. And then they had me doing dishes, also doing some prep, and then also doing the salad bar. So I would come in at 5. I had no ending time specified. So like sometimes I would go home at 5 at night, or sometimes I would get off at noon if we weren't busy. And so after 2 weeks of that, I was just like, fuck these people. Like they're the most miserable people on earth. And I just basically that salad bar, you should not eat salad bar. By the way, the place is bulldozed now. It doesn't exist anymore.
That's good.
So.
That was like that. I mean, that not to belabor this question because we've been on it for a while, but that same dynamic that you're talking about at the deli I used to work at / grocery store. It was. I think I've mentioned this. I'm gonna mention it real quick just in case. But it was the same dynamic. It was. But they weren't divorced. It was a remarried couple who had stepchildren who also worked in the same.
That's worse. That's worse.
Oh yeah. Which the whole dynamic, like she hated his children. He hated her children, and then when they would get together, it would literally be like, "Oh God, are they both coming in today?" We'd all like dread it because we're like, "It's gonna be fireworks." So it was this guy, and he used to come in early in the morning. So if you had an early shift and Donna came in, he would get there like super early and cut the meat right for the deli super early. So Donna would come in, and you hear her come in the back door, and Dave's at the he's cutting the meat. He's sitting there, he's chopping the steaks up, he's getting the chicken ready, and you're like, "Oh God, please Donna, don't say anything to him." Donna, just let it go. He has a knife in his hand. He's fucking crazy. Just let it go. She would come in, literally like clockwork, open the door, and go, "Dave," and he'd go, yes, Donna, and right away. He's like, no time to wait for her, and she'd go, did you get those chicken cutlets for me like I asked? Just clearly goading him. No regard for employees' lives or anything. and he'd be like, no, Donna, I'm actually cutting the steak right now for a customer.
Donna.
And she'd be like, okay, Dave, well, I really need, so it would be that typical fighting talk, right? Yep. So you'd hear, and you could see him literally, I would like kind of watch this if I was like, because you could see him from the slicers, and I'd see the back of his neck get redder and redder and redder, and I'd be like, he's gonna fucking explode. And he also had a special cell phone, because when he got super mad, he used to throw his Nextel cell phone as hard as he could against the back.
It's yellow. It's the construction one.
Yeah, the construction one. He had it on purpose.
Fucking toss those things. Yeah.
So it was like a Hulk situation. He's charging up, exactly, Heads. And I would see him, and she would go off, and she'd be talking, and you could hear her talking shit about him. She'd be like, I always ask Dave, and she knows he can hear her. And he'd be like, I was like, one of these days, I'm going to fucking die. Because he has a knife and he's going to lose it and he's going to kill everyone in the store. So he's standing there and you could hear as he's chopping the meat, it's getting he has a meat cleaver. It's getting louder back there on the board. He's like, it's like you can hear, and people like customers are hearing this, and I'm kind of just like, we're looking at each other. It's a small operation, so everyone knows what's going on. And it's just getting louder and louder, and you can hear, and I'm like, Donna, like, this woman is insane. And she's like, Dave, really need those cutlets. And you hear it's a wooden board, you hear a final fucking cleaver into the wood, like, you hear his cell phone go flying across the room, and you hear him go, I'm fucking done with this, Donna! You do this every time, Donna! And he will literally, in front of his customers, in front of everyone in the store, storm out the back while there's uncut meat on the board, and literally go outside. And we'd be like, that's it, he's finally gonna kill us. He's gonna come back with a shotgun.
Yeah, we're all gonna die. Yeah, we're all gonna die.
And this literally would happen like once a week, and I fucking eventually like I found another job, but it was like fuck, dude. Just thinking about it gets me stressed out. But that was it. Dave and Donna, man. He'd just scream her name, and we always used to like make fun of him, be like, Donna, I can't handle this right now. So anyway, fuck. That's to go along with your story. That the dynamic of having two people own a place and then not get along as an employee is just the absolute.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably common in food service everywhere, though. It doesn't have to, like, managers never get along. I've been in food service for a while. K9 Hadouken, God bless his fucking soul.
Being a chef.
I don't know how you do
I want to address one thing in chat, though, before we leave. You want to hear about my current job?
Yeah.
My employment is terminated as of today. So I want to send a cheers to all of you.
I'm
now a free man.
Finally.
Nicely
I'm
done.
going to do some fucking great things this year. This is my year. But I wanted to wait until we got on the AMA to announce that. So this is to all of you. It's about time.
Guys, give Chezz a cheers. We're going to take a 60-second commercial break, and then we'll be right back with our next question. That went well. That was a long one. But
that's a long one.
That was a fucking great one. This is awesome.
Yeah. Good. I don't know how many we'll get through, but
yeah, that's fine.
See. It's all good.
What's our timestamp on this?
We're at 26 minutes.
For fuck's sake, I was like, oh, this will never last an hour.
One question.
I just like start remembering things like Coke field managers when like I also worked on a farm, by the way, for a little bit.
Nice.
But it was my cousin's farm, so I was just staying with them. But we used to punch the bull in the face. Like that was like this 3,000-pound bull. And the way you made it do what you wanted was you just punched it. Just straight punched it.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that. That's what
just give it a good gains. Good gains punch. Yeah. You Joe'd it. Joe Llewell's on it.
I used to work on a chicken farm, scraping the cages, pulling out the dead birds. I think I've told that. Yeah, man. It's funny like how you suppress like these jobs. Isn't it weird? Like you just forget about it until someone brings it up. You're like, God, I've worked a lot of places.
So, all right, guys, we are back from commercial break and on to our next question here. So this one's another could get a little deep, but Mary Lemke based Mary/Bourbon in the IRC. This woman drinks bourbon like a champ.
Yes, she does.
How do you know? Have you confirmed at PAX? Is that what happened?
I don't know. All her pictures of her are her just like
when she's in the IRC, it's always Mary with a line and then bourbon.
She is.
That's her.
Milady Mary. Yeah, that's how all the KBMOD ladies are referred to as Milady. All 5 of you. Mary Lemke asks, prove your worth, you KB modders. What has been your proudest moment in doing something for someone or helping someone? And then she has a quote here: "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." Leo Buscaglia.
So I'm
deep.
sure you guys have greater stories than I am going to. So I'm gonna address this first.
Okay. I think
The
Scott
greatest
might
thing
trump
I've
us all.
ever done, honestly, the most, I don't even know, to actually help someone or benefit something greater than just my own good, was Extra Life last year. That is the most rewarding feeling I've ever had in my entire life, to not only surpass our goal, but to be a part of that, and just kind of, it was something I actually cared about. To go on Facebook, to go on Twitter multiple days in a row, to continue doing it after the event ended, and to know that we raised that much money as a community.
By the way,
Honestly, best thing I've
expound
ever
on
done
that,
in my life.
we
Not
have
gonna lie.
Gassy Mexican in the chat who raised like $6,000 by himself.
Huge shout
that's
outs.
part of our team.
A
Yep.
As part of our team.
A
Yeah,
monster of
it's
it.
honestly the best thing and the most. It's the only real charitable thing I've done that I can think about that I'm proud to do, and I'm so excited to do it again this year. And Child's Play, we already had some of that this year. Like that stuff I love to do. It's just there's no easier way for me to kind of help out other people than to kind of be with this. And you guys, the community, make that up. So thank you for making that, like, it's the best moment for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could do it the
It
rest of
was
my
a
life
long
if I had a
time.
choice.
So we have a couple from chat here. St. Jimmy, he put a hooker out of its misery once. So, there you go.
Good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Good job, Jimmy.
These are things that need to
done.
happen.
Well done for you. I mean, that's not a bad one, Chezz. I mean, that was one I was going to bring up, and I was going to say the same reasons that you said. Obviously, individual raising money is impressive, but the way that this community has banded together and done, when we did our first goal and set that number, it was kind of it wasn't a joke number necessarily, but it was kind of all right, let's put a number that's super ridiculous, and then it just kept building and building to that point. And then second year, we were like, well, holy shit, let's see if we can double that, or what did we earn year 2, Dan? What was the total? Because it was
$58,000.
$58,000.
The KBMOD community has raised well over
Total.
6 figures now.
Yeah.
For charity. And actually, what you're saying about the totals and us just seeing people go crazy.
Go nuts.
When we were in that Child's Play land and we didn't have any of the quote unquote heavy hitters, we didn't have, we just wanted to have a land, basically, was our
So
excuse
went
for doing
huge.
that.
You blasted the
But we
goal
didn't-
multiple times.
We didn't have APO, we didn't have Brandon, we didn't have John,
Yeah.
we didn't have, it was basically half the guys were really involved in that. And we had $1,000 goal to start, and then ended up with 6,000 or something like that. So people are crazy. You people are nuts. So
and it's such a cool feeling that to see everyone band together and do that. That's definitely a highlight for me. That's as far as I mean, she's asking about helping someone, and that's obviously helping a lot of kids. But maybe let's, I don't know, I'm trying to think more specifically too. I don't know, Dan, if you had one.
Actually,
individually.
I in church in high school, we used to go to a mission trip to South Carolina, and although I'm not a religious man, but and wasn't then really, but we used to go down to South Carolina, and I don't know if anyone knows about what the coastal areas are actually like there. Everyone thinks of, I guess, the beaches there as kind of being the actual coastal areas, but the majority of them are very, very poor people living on those coasts with no support really at all. And their houses are falling apart because of flooding and various other things, and they can't really afford to fix them. So we fixed up their houses, and that was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. We stayed in a high school there, which was again, one of the dirtiest places I've ever had to stay. I mean, but it was it was awesome. We were sleeping with cockroaches. Sean was there with me. Sean, but not heard in the chat. He went to South Carolina. He went on the Mexico mission trips as well, which I did not go on. But those were crazy experiences just to see what those people lived through. Where we replaced roofs, we did all kinds of stuff. But it was very cool. And I encourage you, even if you're not a religious person, churches are often the best way to get involved with something like that.
Yeah.
Just overall. So if you are in high school or even in college, try to go on one of those trips, because it will help reaffirm your faith in humanity a little bit. I know I'm pretty negative usually and pretty cynical, but those are good trips to go on. So, yeah, for sure.
In before our atheism populates the chat.
Yeah.
Clever. Poseidon.
Checkmate.
So we've been talking about charity and like helping people. Well, on like a more personal note, and this one's actually in my own family, which is an interesting story. But my brother, when he was younger, we moved a ton. I haven't really talked about my history too much.
Yeah, that
growing
one
up.
video you did.
Oh yeah. You know what I did? Okay, that's a good point. So I have like one video on my channel that does discuss it about
Quick synopsis of it.
a quick synopsis. I grew up a pastor's kid, a missionary's kid. We moved a lot. I lived overseas for 4 years. But all that to say, my brother really struggled when we moved a lot. He struggled. He had horrible anxiety attacks, and he was the youngest in our family, and he didn't really know how to deal with stress. And like we started school so many times, so he would always have. He would get like he would have those attacks where he would get so like he couldn't even function. Like he wouldn't be able to get out of bed. He would vomit because of the anxiety. So this went on for like this is when I was younger too. Like I think he was like in 6th grade of middle school, which is like a horrible time to like have that kind of stuff happen. And middle school is already awful enough, just like high school. And so what would happen is like I used to share a room with him too because my family wasn't wealthy. So all up until I moved out, me and my brother shared a room, which was kind of cool actually. There's a cool camaraderie that comes with that. But I got bummed seeing like how rough he was having it, and we like he would get like quiet, and we didn't really have like a close relationship. But at one point, I remember like I saw him up one morning, and I was like I can't take it anymore. I was like I got to talk to him. So like I basically did like the brotherly, like I took him aside, and I was like. And I gave him like my best advice because I was like struggling with it too, but I was able to handle it better. And I was like, listen, Ryan, I was like, dude, I was like, you have to take, I was like, I know it's rough and it sucks for us. And I was like, I'm in the same boat that you are. And I was like, and I know that you don't want to go to school. I was like, but we need to, I was like, you just need to do it. I was like, take it one day at a time. I was like, we're both in the same boat. I was like, if you ever need me, you can call me at school. So I basically gave him like the big brother, like pep talk kind of thing. And it totally like, and it was a good example of like what Mary's saying where like, it totally changed because I don't think because I never said that stuff to him before. So I don't think he had ever acknowledged that like I actually care about him or like he understood that or that there was anyone else in it with him. And it totally like that day, from that day on, he didn't become totally better, but he had such a better demeanor about it. And he was like, okay, like I get that my brother's in this with me. And he would call me when he'd get down and stuff. And it was just really cool. So that's like an example of like, I never thought that I could necessarily have an impact, but sometimes just reaching out and doing that is like huge. Yeah. And that's a story for me. That's like pretty good.
You think it's something small, but it makes a huge difference to someone, like a monumental difference.
So those big little things. I always find it baffling with the extra life stuff. We play video games and we help people. That's about the best deal you can get.
You can't beat it. You honestly can't beat it.
So.
Christian Crouch AMA. Oh my god.
So all right. That was a good question. So I hope you guys are seeing how this will kind of take shape on this show. These shows, by the way, are not going to be one-offs, but the majority of Tuesdays will be game launches. So like you might not see episode 2 of this for a bit, like
Right. It's not necessarily going to be every week. We'll do it when we can.
There just wasn't really any games coming out this week, but like
they really just wanted to feature my face. So
yeah,
this is
exactly. But there will be, different episodes of these, and there's a couple other show ideas we're throwing out, so just letting you guys know. So, Flandlord, onto a question that is decidedly less charitable.
Totally. Well, it could be charitable to yourself.
Yeah, it could be.
Someone else.
Or to
Very
someone
good
else.
question.
So, Flandlord asks, have you ever shaved your genitals? Could be manscaping, full shave. Could be for sexual reasons. Could be for comfort, etc. I have manscaped a bit. I have... I'm not actually the biggest fan of doing that, to be honest. But, I don't know about you guys.
Chezz is raising his hand, so I'm
Mr.
anxious
Chezz,
to hear.
Mr. Chesna, please.
I'm sorry. I'm under the impression that if the ladies are going to do that for us, which I'm sorry to say, in this day and age is almost a requirement. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go dive into the bush in Australia to find, that place.
It's a requirement that women blow you.
If we're gonna if we're gonna go that far to assume that this is something,
any woman that meets Chezz, it's a requirement that they blow him. That's the way that came out.
I'm just saying, I'm okay. I'm all right to have the same courtesy to you. Okay, we'll take care of that. That's fine. I'll tell you that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to sum that up there. If you're
got
going
you.
to do that, fine. All right. I'll take care of it.
Yep.
A little trim here, a little trim there. You won't have any pubes in your teeth. We'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
that's,
All
no,
right.
that's
I'm okay with it. I'm sorry to say it's an equal transaction as far as I'm concerned.
No, I totally agree. I think you're fair. I have Manscaped as well. I haven't gone like have you done like I mean, we're talking like there's porn levels of
I feel
Manscaped.
like all right. Here's
Where
I'm
it's
not gonna
just-
wax. I'm not gonna wax my shit.
Got a
I
hair.
feel if
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
I feel
no,
if you
never-
wax
never
that
to that
shit,
extent.
I feel if you wax that shit
But,
and there's
yeah.
no evidence of hair at all, you look like
Cleaned
a
it.
small child at that point, and that's just a little
No,
weird.
I look
I like that, dude. I don't care.
I look too good as it is, so I'm not gonna. Maybe one day we'll have the full body wax, and then we'll do the KBMOD calendar shoot. But until then,
So, the trim. I'll do the trim.
Trim.
yeah,
Really
I'm
trim.
tight.
all about the trim. It's the
Well, that's
lack-
true. I already look like a small child. That is true. But I'm sorry. It just looks like a weird bald elephant if you just completely remove everything. I mean, call me
Oh,
crazy, but Chezz, I am with you on the female side of that. I must say.
Yeah.
But-
It's the way straight. Honestly, it's as simple as that.
I mean, I think so. The answer is yes. We have. Okay, that was it. I didn't know if he was asking for tips or anything.
Sean, I find the bush helps find the treasure.
Jesus Christ! I'm not diving into the bush with Rohan in Australia.
Are you
here. We're not
talking about a? I prefer a landing strips are classy.
Mhm.
I'm okay with
Absolutely.
that. If you're gonna, I think women have more freedom to do some zany,
do.
some
They
zany
definitely-
stuff.
They can get zany with
zany,
this stuff.
artistic stuff. Okay, you can call it that.
So there you go. Vajazzle that shit. Thank you, Mary.
Vajazzle.
No, get some.
Can I
dress.
see your vajazzle, Bill Cosby? Damn it.
Badoo badoo, vajazzle badoo. You vajazzled into a jello pudding boo. All right.
Oh god, the jazzling and pudding will never.
Oh,
the same.
man.
Yeah, all sorts of piercings too. You need to have like. By the way, I think this is not necessarily on this topic. Dudes who get their dick pierced, you're fucked up.
I don't know.
I'm saying. I don't
That's just-
understand.
it hurts to look at. I can't even.
Yeah.
Not that I'm looking at dudes.
I mean, I'm big on
well,
just viewing Prince
Right.
Albert's, galleries
Right.
of them.
Yeah.
But
when I'm on r/Prince Albert's,
it's just
When I'm
a-
on one and I'm on r/Prince Albert's,
yeah.
I'm sure it is.
tend to
I'm sure
think
it's a
about
thing.
how fucked up you are.
I'm not gonna go there, but I'm sure it's a thing.
Not that I'm just sitting on Google image search viewing.
Well,
these
Jam,
photos.
Jam, I'm not gonna even say what
Too,
Jam
when
was
blood
thinking.
rushes to that penis, right? When it's not flaccid, I mean, obviously, penis just changed shape. So, what is the results of like? They must
The
work
moment,
that.
the moment. I want to discuss the moment when somebody takes a hole puncher onto the
Nope.
tip of your penis.
Yeah.
What? We're not going to talk about it any further.
Oh, okay, I know what you're saying.
But that moment,
You're saying like, what is the mental state of you at that
They are
moment?
shapeshifters.
that
yeah.
moment when it just. I'm not going to do it anymore. That's it. I'm leaving it.
That is a moment.
oh,
Yeah,
I
look at the
can't.
chat. Stop, please.
Yeah, the chat just
Chad
No.
Winchester linking. Yeah,
Can't.
come on, dude. Oh
Can't.
my God, it's
Don't
an actual.
link it. I'm killing it. Link. I'm
It's
It is
a
killing
real,
Reddit.
though.
It's a real
Don't get
Reddit.
It's real,
Oh my
Prince
God.
Albert.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All
Sorry.
right. Okay. Moving on.
Chad.
Moving on to a gaming question.
Thank
Believe it or
God.
not. Alex Edmonds asks, do you feel like the release of the new consoles will drive more people to PC? And I would actually say no, it will not. I think it's gonna actually. Let me rephrase that. I think the PS4 is going to be kind of the champion of this cycle. That would be my. We don't know anything about the Xbox yet, but I think that the PS4 is really going to get a lot of followers on board with it. The always online stuff, the arrogance of Microsoft, to basically, even though Adam Orth doesn't represent Microsoft, they've not shown us anything. We know it's going to be always online. It's going to be Windows 8, which fucking sucks. So, I don't know. I think the PS4 is going to garner a lot of attention. It may even take some people who have an older PC and they may just say fuck it and get a PS4.
Yeah.
I can see that happening rather than upgrading.
I agree too, and I think the whole, obviously, as we think of PCs, consoles are just stripped down PCs. We talk about that a lot.
And they
anyway,
will literally be that.
They will, like, truly. It's getting to that point now. I don't think it's going to make people. If anything, I think it will do the opposite because of not only the graphical power that they will have, obviously. I mean, I'm not gonna, like, the Xbox 360 can still, obviously, it's not you can't compare to a game running on a decked out PC. But still, like Gears of War and some other games where you're like, how the fuck are they pulling this much juice out of this thing? Like, Gears of War is a beautiful game, and I think with the resurgence of these consoles, you're going to see people get sucked in and be like, well, look at these graphics, they're just as good. I mean, and maybe they'll be on par with certain top of the line PC builds for a little bit. But obviously that'll change as it goes.
I mean, that's the cycle. But to me, it all comes down to, and we've mentioned this on the podcast before, to me, the reason the PS4 looks very attractive, for one thing, as far as a PC gamer or maybe someone who doesn't want to upgrade their PC, is that the PS4, I think, will have a very close ecosystem to Steam as far as, like, sales and digital availability. But you won't always have to be online necessarily. You will probably want to be. But the Xbox itself will literally not work unless you are online. Like, you will not even be able to do anything. But the PS4, I think, is going to have a store that's going to be... Sony has to step up in that. Because PSN is terrible compared to Live. Like, that whole system is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
The ecosystem is terrible completely. But Sony is trying to bring all these developers into the process of making the PS4 and all this stuff. And so you still can't beat a PC for
obviously
just having all these games at your fingertips all the time. And I think that is the biggest advantage. And I think you're going to see less exclusives too. Games like Journey, for instance, which was like a reason to buy a PS3, even though it was only a couple hours. The game, that well acclaimed. But I think you're going to see less games that only come out on one console, except for there's going to be the Halos, and there's going to be your Gran Turismos and Forzas, but those will be dying out, I think, very soon, mainly because the hardware is going to be the same. And there's
So to summarize, no, I don't think it'll drive more people to PC.
No,
Alex, personally, I don't think that.
I think what is it? X86 is
They're
what's
all
going
X86.
to. Yeah, so that makes cross-platform easier, right?
Yep.
Am I wrong with that?
Yes, very much easier.
So that's going to make ports more accessible. I don't know if I'd say more profitable, but it's easier to port. They're probably going to be less hesitant to leave them as a console exclusive. So to say that something will drive more people to PC, I don't personally see it. I think that console fulfills a need for, I don't even want to say America, I just want to say the public, the casual public, okay?
Yeah.
You want to go to casual college, you just sit on your couch, you sit with a controller, you drink your Miller Lite, and you play. That's fine. You don't care, though. But me, where I'm grinding on Black Ops to be a Master League and be like Orb, then okay, you play on PC. But otherwise, I don't think it's going to drive more people to PC. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt the whole
No, I don't think
resurgence
it
of
will
PC, as the consoles did last time. Kind of hurt the growth of PC last time. But I don't think that's going to happen this time, just simply because I don't know that they can develop. I think PlayStation can more, as I said, but I just don't think that they can get that ecosystem running in the way that Steam does as far as sales and cheapness of games and availability.
It's just it's so accessible for me to just right now right-click on a game and do buy. Yeah. And I'm done. And I'm set and good to go.
All right.
I think they're going to transfer that to console.
So up next here, a non-gaming question. So Jason Troll, which I'm pretty sure is a fake name for this gentleman. No way your last name is Troll.
Could be.
Well, your last name, though.
He asked, you guys should discuss your history with marijuana if you have one.
Okay.
I mean, this is a question, actually another example for this quote-unquote pilot show we have going. This is a question I would not put on the podcast, but we'll talk about it here.
Well, I would also like to mention that I count, I think, 6 legs on this current show, which means none of us have any history with marijuana, because if we did, we'd have lost our legs by now.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think,
I think were brutal.
Right, Weed War 3, man. R.I.P. my grandfather.
So
sorry, I'm going to the bathroom.
I I am.
Is that offensive? Sorry about that.
So I would say, here's my whole deal with lay drugs. Do what you want. I think they should all be legal, unless they're blatantly harmful, such as heroin, where there's literally no upside.
No upside at all.
And pretty much no...
residual effects.
Well, you always get addicted pretty much with heroin. It's like, you're never just like doing heroin then like, that was cool, I'm not going to do that again. Or like heroin, meth, etc., that kind of thing. I actually think if you had government regulated everything, we'd be fine. Like cocaine even, I think would be fine as long as it was government regulated and you had to get it like a prescription drug where you can only have so much at once, that kind of thing.
I don't want the government in on my cocaine game, bro. Come on, I don't want them taking a cut.
I have smoked the marijuana devil leaf, but
oh my god!
But only like once or twice, and I'm just not that interested in it. Thank you very much. I don't know. It's just like I have nothing against it whatsoever. But I have nothing.
The shock chat, mother of God, Daniel.
But
good God,
the devil leaf. The
devil leaf.
But I just don't really have an interest in it. Like I have nothing against it whatsoever. I don't care if people do it around me. In fact, it smells wonderful. But I just have no interest in it. And like it's the same thing with drinking for the most part with me. Is like the original reason I started drinking is because I like beer. It wasn't actually to get drunk, although that soon followed. But
once you find out about that side effect,
yeah, I was like, holy fuck, this is sweet as shit. But I do actually, and I smoke tobacco, not like regularly, but pretty frequently. Like if Sean's hookah's around, I am on that for hours.
So good.
It's amazing. Weed does not smell horrible. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm not with you on that. I don't hate it, but I'm not like a fan of.
That's a whole different conversation.
For me, I was a good boy all up until college. I didn't do jack shit. I didn't fucking put pixie sticks in my mouth, dude. I stayed away from everything.
I snorted pixie sticks once. It hurts like shit.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I did too.
That'd be terrible.
Fucked up life.
But obviously in college I experimented with some drugs, and I have the same stance. Like, I don't know if this is becoming like a platform thing, but I agree with Dan in general as far as like legalizing pretty much everything under the sun minus the real addictive. Like,
well, I thought it should be a platform thing because if we just said yes, we have smoked weed, that would be the end of the questions.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I think it's pretty clear too as more and more states legalize the selling of it and regulation of it, that weed is just like, especially when you look at like alcohol and the side effects of alcohol and drunk driving.
Tobacco especially.
Yeah,
I think we know just causes cancer at extreme rates.
Yep,
and
with it's just literally zero upside.
Yeah.
That you don't even, well, I guess you get the nicotine.
Tastes good.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so I think, I don't know, I'm waiting for Chezz though to answer this question.
Well, I'll tell you this. So not only was I 15 years old robbing and looting a grocery store,
oh boy,
I might have also been
Chezz is like Mad Max or some shit.
Dude.
Jeez, yeah, this is pretty bad.
Yeah,
but look at me, I have a tie on now, so it's all redeemed at this point. I may have also smoked but not inhaled, just like Bill Clinton. So I don't know anything about doing drugs. But at the same time, if I'm not producing it in my bathtub, I don't understand how you can make it illegal. If it grows outside, then it's just something that's already there. I'm sorry to say. I can't go outside and shoot a sunflower into my vein. But
well, you could.
I'm going to try that
you
shit.
Could try.
Maybe that gets you high as shit.
Maybe that gets you high as fuck. Maybe I'm going to be the new sunflower.
Dude, you just gave everyone in this chat business idea.
We're going to block that out of the VOD.
The viewers just went in half as everyone went outside.
To go find sunflowers.
To go rob their neighbors' planters, yeah. I've dabbled in the Mary J, but at the same time, it's not a crutch for me. It's not, to be honest with you, I haven't smoked, I don't think, in almost a year at this point. But if I went out to a party later tonight and somebody had it and they were like, hey, you want to smoke? I'd be like, fine. It's not like something I'm looking for. If it's there, I'm okay to do it. Honestly, it makes me more hungry and tired than anything.
There it is. Mother protests KBMOD after son dies injecting sunflowers.
There's the headline.
Please don't.
The news. For me, marijuana. Obviously, I live in California, so I mean, 420 blaze, smoke it up. You know, right? Like everyone here, like you can't meet anyone here who hasn't had contact with marijuana in the last 2 hours. So that's the way California works. But for me, I'm the same way. Like I just get very tired and lackadaisical, and I like to try to, like, if I'm playing a game, I like to be focused. Or at least try to be. And for me, it just doesn't work. If I really want to relax or something like that, then it's okay. But for me, I'm not a big marijuana fan personally. But
I'm a person who would probably smoke and then watch Netflix and go to bed. I can't.
Well, that's true.
I'll tell you that. I'm just not a productive person. I like to do it, relax, and then that's it. So, it's just me.
If you don't want to be productive, then it's a good relax.
If you want to be like me, unemployed in my office on a podcast, then
we'll draw the line if weed proponents start being like, "You want to be productive? Smoke some weed." You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, well,
then we can go a whole multitude of directions for that.
We can't bring Fat Attack into the call. We'll have the feds on us in 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Anyway.
Oh my God. All right.
What else?
All right, last 2 questions here. We're going to be right around our target time for this.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
A little long, probably, but Charlie Smith asks, given only $2,000 and a backpack with food, how many countries do you think you could travel through illegally in succession? I don't know what the legality has to do with it, I'll be honest with you. Also, what route would you take? I'll start off. I think, first of all, I'm going to strip the illegally out of this because there's no, like, that doesn't really matter. As long as you have a passport, for the most part, it doesn't really matter.
Well, even without that, I feel like I could pass through some things via boat. You know, I've played a lot of DayZ, so I feel like I could just hop on a little boat and just go to different countries all the time because Chernarus is real, dude.
Well, let me talk to you about something real quick. Has anyone here? This is going to go way back, and I guarantee you the answer is no. But I watched this actually for the first time last year. Does anyone know who Michael Palin is? First of all. It's not Sarah Palin. Not really.
Sounds really familiar, but
he was a member. He was a member of Monty Python.
Okay.
Michael Palin. He was a member of Monty Python. He did a show in the 80s, like the early 80s, where he did Around the World in 80 Days. But he did it. What? He couldn't use a plane. That was like the rule. So he couldn't use a plane.
Holy shit.
So. And it was the early 80s, so a lot of like things have
obviously
changed now as far as like, you know, countries that you could go through. That, like, he went through Iraq at one point. Like, you definitely,
Jesus Christ.
definitely couldn't do that now.
Yeah.
But it was
no GPS either. He had to fucking use real maps.
It was fucking
Google Maps.
It was fucking amazing, by the way. Watch it. It's on Netflix. It is from like 1983 or 84, so I mean it is old now, but. Watching what he did as far as going on ships, because my initial thought with this question was that if you wanted to do Europe, it'd be fucking tough because you would have to take a plane, and that's nearly the 2,000, like right there. At least from flights from Pittsburgh, that's like $1,200 to fly over. So that leaves you with $800 already, and that sucks. But if you took a boat, and you were like a deckhand, you just took a boat over to like Dover or like London or, you know, a port over there, you could totally... London's not even on the ocean. I'm an idiot. But anyway, but regardless, you could take a boat and do it. So I think that route is open. If you guys were thinking the same thing here with me where it would be too much. But you could take a boat to the UK or to France, to Calais there. Boat me to London, please. One ticket. Thank you. God damn it. I still think the easiest route in this situation is to go through Mexico. Although that's pretty dangerous. Ticket spelled without the C. God damn it, Scott.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Boat me up, Scotty. But I think you could take a boat.
One ticket.
But it wouldn't be like a cruise ship. You'd have to do what Michael Palin did. And be like a deckhand on a boat.
No.
One ticket.
You would have to get fucking creative.
So with that in mind, where would you go?
Fucking Petsky.
Once you're on the ground, you could live off that. Okay.
So, but we couldn't start somewhere? Like, we couldn't start in your... We're starting from where we are, I'm guessing.
I think...
I'm starting from where I'm at. That's what I was
2K, I mean, you could get a lot... If you hitchhiked, you would start off hitchhiking.
But how many blowjobs would you give? That's the question.
You know, well, that's true too. Like you would have to hitchhike to like.
No. You wouldn't have to hitchhike.
Why?
Because you could take a megabus for $1.
Ah,
They
that's
have
Or
them
you
true.
out
can
in
blow a
Cali.
bunch of dudes for like a few dollars. That's the trade-off.
I think for you, the easiest route is to go south, Scott. Obviously.
Yeah, that's a good point. Get into yeah, I would probably go south, get into fucking Mexico.
Boat somewhere.
Right, exactly.
He knows
Yeah,
brings up a good
$2,000.
point.
Once you start getting into some maybe countries that aren't as wealthy as the U.S., you could stretch that as long as you don't get killed,
Dude, $2,000 in Mexico, you could live like
dude. King
I'm
for
going to be the wild one here. I'm going to go with what Zero Hope said. I'm going to go north. I'm going to go
Going to
north from
Canada?
Chicago. Yep,
Gonna
I'm
go
going to
to
go into
Canada.
Canada. Not only am I going to go into Canada, I'm going to go through Alaska. And then I'm going to somehow end up in Russia and die a fucking miserable,
Russia-
sad death.
I would go
That's
to
what I'm
Japan.
going for.
I would go to Japan from there.
Mm.
That's what
I feel like there's a lot of things you can do.
Japan's not cheap. though.
Probably,
I want to
you know,
go to Japan and buy panties from a vending machine that have been used.
Do you think
That's
for
my dream.
$1,000?
That's
You think
what
for
I wanna do.
$1,000 though, I could get
Scott
from
would go through this huge ordeal
U.S.
to get to
through
Japan.
Canada? Do you think for
Buy
$1,000
these
I could get to
panties.
Canada? Do you think I could?
1,000 to Canada?
I think $1,000 I could somehow get from Chicago into Canada. I'm talking about scraping.
Yeah,
I
Absolutely.
mean, you're
fucking-
scraping. Yeah, you're
People are
scraping
saying
some
easy.
smegma off someone's balls with
I'm
your
gonna
tongue.
go to Russia and
what
I'm
you're
gonna probably
scraping.
pick up a fucking AK at some point. Maybe kill a few people, but I'm gonna cross through as many countries as I can for $2,000. Maybe I'll start a
Capsar has a
drug.
good point. East Asia though is super cheap actually. Like Korea,
I just
China,
figured going to
Thailand,
Mongolia or something would be great. you know?
Singapore.
I thought it would be a great idea, so I was gonna go north.
So I would go and I would take a bus to New York, and then I would take a boat over to Europe, and then I would backpack through Europe because the hostels and stuff in Europe, barring what happened in that horrible movie Hostel, that's a pretty safe way to travel and very cheap way to travel, and you can see a lot that way.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I think you could get with $2,000. You could probably get to Eastern Europe. You just have to avoid staying in a nice hotel somewhere, basically, because you have food in this backpack supposedly. Although that all might be gone by the time the ship journey's over.
Yeah, it's gonna require some sustenance.
Yeah, I'm gonna sum up my trip. It's I go north and I die. It's done. I freeze to death and it's over. So, that's the end of my story.
What about you, Scott? What would you do? Mexico? What would you do?
Yeah, I would probably go that route just because of how close I am. I don't know. I just with 2K,
Shit
that
gets
can
really
get
far, I
evaporated
feel like,
so
though.
quick, dude.
Shit
So
gets
quick.
fucking real in Central
I don't know,
America.
man.
Too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, America should get
I mean, I've already lived in a tropical area before, so I feel like I could survive in the jungle for a while. I mean, eventually I might have to use my money as not only sustenance but clothing. Maybe I'd end up wrapping that 2K around me and become a jungle man. I don't know. It's possible. You could tie if I got it all in dollar bills, I could wear it as a garment and just become a fucking wild man. Maybe that's as far as I get. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not how far you get. Maybe it's where your destination lies,
That's
right?
true.
Maybe
Boom.
that's
There
the
you
point of
go.
this.
Wow.
There you go.
done.
All right.
I'd be the
Summed
best
up.
jungler in Central
Summed up.
America.
Best jungler. Best
There you
jungler.
go. Best jungler NA. There you go. Best jungler CA.
Best jungler.
CA, dude.
He'd
didn't
also
even think
be,
about it.
He'd also be the only jungler CA.
That's right. The only
but
one.
That's okay.
Like,
All right. Second here.
I can't even. Jesus, you got so
So-
deep there on me.
oh, this is a great question. This is a good one to
So-
end on.
We've somewhat answered this on podcasts before, but not really. So Cameron C asks, and it's basically he wants to know. He asks, what made you want to create KBMOD? How close of friends were you with everyone before KBMOD existed? How long did it take until KBMOD kind of took off? Who was your inspirations? Well, I'll start. I think the creation plus the inspirations go together. The inspiration to do it was mainly because we didn't like any of the PC coverage. That was me and
Yeah.
Bob and Brandon. That was our original inspiration for wanting to do it. We didn't even know what we were going to do. We were just like, there is nothing for it, because we were all doing the YouTube thing at the time, and we were all kind of pushing PC, but we didn't like any of the coverage. Like, we didn't really like PC Gamer, so we kind of went with the elitist bent for a while, which has kind of died down, which I'm glad. More inclusive now. Yeah, we looked up to PKA, and basically that was why we started doing everything.
Yeah.
So that's what made us want to create it, and that was the inspiration, basically, kind of same thing. How close of friends were we? Chezz was like around, like he wasn't gaming with us all the time, but he was around.
I have to tell the smallest of stories though, because Paulak is in the chat right now. I remember gaming with Nuketown Noob, and he asked permission from Mr. Scott Fisher himself if I could join his Ventrilo server because he wanted to vouch for me and he wanted me to join those guys gaming. And that, to this day, has got me where I'm at this very moment. That.
Yeah,
but that was thanks to Mr. Nuketown Noob.
It was like,
but that was just the smallest event channels. The smallest event channels.
Before
KBMOD was a thing.
Before KBMOD was a thing, I used to game with John a decent amount because he played WoW a lot then, so did I, and then we would play COD 4 now and then. And this was like a year before KBMOD existed and before I did YouTube as well. Then Black Ops came out and I wanted to do YouTube, and John kind of knew everyone at that point, like Scott and like Dunkus and Gold Glove and Hutch and all those bros. And Brandon had been gaming with John and I for many years before that. And Bob I hadn't really talked to in a long time until KBMOD came around. Even though I went to high school and middle school, I've known Bob since I was 12. So I've known him for a while. And so basically Scott and me and John, well, not John actually that much, really. Scott, myself, Alex, gamed a lot then.
Yeah.
And we used to game a lot well before KBMOD was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you and Grizzbaby was still a thing when KBMOD started. And
the greatest of things.
Yeah, Scott had come on for the final couple episodes of that.
One. I killed him.
Scott actually killed you and Grizzbaby.
I am
so we're all
for
clear
the
here.
death of KB.
He actually murdered it. Yeah.
So then we just did the website thing for like a month and a half on KBMOD, and like we didn't live stream because actually Twitch didn't exist, and then
that's true. Holy shit.
Twitch didn't exist.
Dude, we've been around for a long time, bro.
For fuck's sake,
there's
how
a lot
old
of
are
shit that
we?
has gone down.
2 years. 2 years in May. 2 years in May.
2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 years. May 16th will be 2 years of KBMOD. So we started up the blog on Blogger, and we were just like, well, let's just report the news, but we'll do it with don't give a fuck. We just don't give a fuck. That was our whole thing, because we saw, like, just basically IGN just blowing everybody and stuff like that, so we didn't want to do that. So we kind of started shitting on things more often than not.
Yeah.
But then I came back from Bonnaroo, and Scott was like, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, okay, what do we do? And then we didn't do anything for like a month. And then we were like, we finally got together, and I think it was just me, you, and Alex, right?
It was super small at first. Yeah, I gotta look at Nick Fenton didn't come until much later.
Much later, yeah.
Nick Fenton was later.
Who was on the first episode? God,
Trout.
wow. We'll have
It was
to go
Trout.
back.
It was the
Trout.
the
first.
Trout lad.
Fuck, how could we forget?
The Trout 91.
I'll never forget.
Oh,
Trout
man.
91, me, Scott, and Alex, and that was the first podcast. We didn't ask John because we didn't think he wanted to be on.
Yeah,
we didn't think he wanted to be on another podcast. And then he was like, get me on this podcast. So we got him on, and then it became the four of us. And then we had Dunkus. Trout was on episode 2? Okay, so it was just the three of us.
So I guess it was the three of us.
Yeah.
Fucking, dude, man, I totally forgot about Podbean. People are talking about Podbean in the fucking
Fucking
chat.
Podbean. I don't even
Oh, the
want
nightmares, dude. The fucking nightmares. Oh.
Yeah. And then we had, wow, thank you, Big Satchel. Alex is on because you guys aren't funny.
That's funny. Ban him. No, I'm just kidding.
So we didn't have a fucking structure at all, like for a very long time. We just kind of like did whatever. We had like Dunkus on, and then Brandon wanted to be on after a while. We had Brandon on, and then he wanted to be on.
Yep.
For the remainder of it, and then it just picked up steam once the podcast started. We still didn't have it. We didn't have a YouTube channel for like a year. Like, we just didn't have one.
well, you had one. You just didn't upload anything for a very long.
We
You
literally
locked
didn't
it
upload
down.
for a year. Yeah, we locked it down. Then we didn't
Locked
upload
it
anything.
down, and then I remember I'm like, oh, I'm gonna totally contribute to this, and then it remained idle for months on months on months.
Yeah, and and then we had guests along the way, and then that kind of, and the Extra Life really blew us up. I feel.
Yeah.
The first Extra Life really blew us up, and then after that, the next big point, at least for us, was having Garrettson on. Was the next big point, because it was like, holy fuck, a developer.
We finally had a dev on.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then he stayed on and did the whole show, and we were like, what is happening?
Yeah,
What is this guy doing?
And I called him Gertson at first.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So.
The whole episode was great.
So, that was, and then basically, we didn't really stagnate, but then later that year, my job changed, and we couldn't write as much. So it's been kind of cool to see, kind of cool and also kind of shitty to see how things have changed. But we pulled Hex on, and he was writing articles, and then it was just me and him basically. And then Scott moved, so he basically had to stop really contributing hard. And then John also moved. Not that he was writing or anything, but he also had to really stop focusing on it. So a lot of shit just randomly.
Dude, he was making a lot of YouTube videos, man.
Those were kind of out of nowhere, both those moves. At least to us, because we hadn't even heard any inklings. But then,
I mean, it's all relative now. Obviously, we're not huge. But one thing I do about, and this is something I was talking behind the scenes about, and this is not me sucking up again because I've done this 3 consecutive shows in a row. But the community that we have bred here, and it's not obviously just us, but it's amazing to me that what we set out to do has actually happened, right? Dan, when we talk, if we had to envision what we wanted our community to be like at the beginning, because we didn't really know, we were kind of doing it as we go along. But the people that seem to be attracted to what we try to do, it just all worked. It's just kind of crazy to me that it all worked out. And when we do Extra Life, that's our biggest event. We get a lot of people watching. Even to have a podcast that gets 300 to 400 people consistently every single week is a huge deal for us. Because when we started, we didn't really know what it was going to do. You know what I mean?
The live streaming has taken over for basically the last year. We started once I got out of my contract with Machinima, to not have to live stream on YouTube anymore. Then I started focusing on trying to get a schedule working. We had one show to start. Yeah. I streamed 1 day a week, and then I was streaming 4 days a week on my own channel. And then
now what are we at?
Dude, 12 streams, 11 or 12 streams.
That might actually change with my employment change too.
So
we might have more than that.
Yeah, and as Scott said, we have the highest sub to view ratio on Twitch. That's
the thing about this community is when someone gets in this community, for the most part, they're they're in it. It's like heroin. It seems people want to know what's going on, and part of it is part of me is God, not here come the sellout memes, right? We need to be more mainstream and reaching more people. And to be honest, the more I think about it, I'm obviously it's great to grow, and we're gonna welcome stuff like that, but part of the whole KBMOD thing is to know, as you get in this community, even if you've just joined, you start understanding the inside jokes. Why does everyone call APL sellout? What are the jokes about Dan? All of that stuff is part of the whole experience, and it's so funny. Once you get it, you really get it, and I think that's why people stay around quite a bit, because you guys fucking keep it hilarious.
Yeah,
it's fucking nuts.
And we're trying to do more. It's been absolutely crazy that guys like AJ and Tim
deal.
And pulling in Tim, and by the way, guys, Tim streams during the day, so if you're in EU and you're up late, tune into him, man, because he's able to do that. Soon Chezz will be able to do that.
Soon I'll be there
for a little bit, so it's. We're trying to get more reach. We have a lot of diehard people, and we love that. And I like seeing new people in my WoW streams and stuff, which has been a totally different audience that I've pulled in, which is cool. And we need one thing we have done poorly. Well, I have done poorly, is to pull in and play games with people like Fassy Mexican.
Yes.
And
Fassy. Yes. My favorite. I love Fassy.
Gotcha, Fassy.
He does.
Fassy
he did
Mexican.
that Morgan Freeman thing, Fassy or something. That was great.
Fassy.
I loved it.
But him and Diction and these guys who seem to like us, maybe. I don't know.
No, totally. We definitely need to be doing more of that, and we will be.
And All Sham No Wow, the legend, always wanting to stream. Always wanting to stream.
Always here with us. Always here with us.
Always trolling hard, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had a lot of fun with the live streams, and APL is wanting to do more. So
Yes, absolutely. I want to be like as you guys have noticed, I've been trying to do at least a stream. I think we're on 3 weeks now. I've done a show, so I want to try to do more with that. And yeah, I mean, and I think like obviously with the whole subscription model is that it's not just a coincidence that you're seeing us put more of an effort. I mean, especially Dan's done a good job coordinating all that, but like getting more content for you guys. I mean, we have a show a week basically last week, right? We had a show 7 days a week.
We do now.
We do now,
have,
right? Which is
right.
Well, that will be consistent. Where it's not like, oh, this is a fluke thing. Like
right,
it's consistent now. So
I've tried, guys, to pull this together for you, and coordinate all these bros for all these streams.
Dan doesn't get enough credit for because like honestly, like when I was AWOL, when I was moving to California and stuff, like Dan has really kept this together. So he really is our CEO and our, what did you used to call yourself? What was your you had like a name for yourself?
Troll
Something about like
I used to say I was the CEO of KBOD.
Yeah, but like it was a troll, but really he does run it on a daily basis. So you guys gotta definitely.
But I won't. I do it because you guys keep showing up. So keep doing it, keep supporting us, and hopefully we'll do this show again soon, possibly next week because I can't think of a game that comes out. Oh no, I can't think of anything next week. 2 weeks is Metro Last Light comes out, so we'll definitely be doing that. But next week we may do this again or try out one of the other ideas that we have. But we will let you know the format if we do this again, whether it's going to be the Reddit, which seems like the best idea.
That'd be a good idea. I think I like that idea. Doing the Reddit subreddit.
A lot of people use Reddit just in general, so accounts should not be a problem there either. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for coming out. 200 of you was not expecting that whatsoever.
Not shabby.
I was expecting my normal 60 to 80 or something. Thank you so much. Do not go to Reddit.
Okay, it's party nerds.
So we'll let you know what we're doing next week on Tuesday. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but tomorrow night, another stream. Hex and I dual streaming Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, giving away 2 copies of the game, and
the dual stream is back.
Yes, the dual stream is back. KBMOD.com/dual-stream. Sean put it together in a half hour. I was like, can you get that to me in 2 days? Links me the page in a half hour.
Nice.
Thank you so much for coming out, guys. That is it. This show is going to be more like, I'm trying to remember what that show that DJ Wheat does is called. But his is like an hour and then he ends it. So you can kind of think of it like that. We've actually gone like an hour and 15. But
we're basically replacing DJ Wheat, so
yeah,
it's
we're basically
just following my pattern of
way
things.
Bigger than Live on 3. So anyway, it's like an hour, and then we're gonna be done with this type of show. So thank you so much for coming out this week, and this will be uploaded to YouTube later. And make sure to follow at APL Fisher, at Cheddar Chezz, at Infinite Sad. They're on your screen right now, and of course follow KBMOD. And we will see you guys next week.
We shall see you guys later.
Later, bros.